A furious mob storms Versailles, demanding the queen's blood. Inside, Marie Antoinette stands defiant, draped in silk, facing the revolution head-on. Once the symbol of opulence, she's now a target for France's rage. How did this young Austrian princess rise to such heights, only to face a deadly fall? Let's unravel the shocking story of Marie Antoinette's rise and ruin. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. Marie Antoinette wasn't French by birth. She was born in 1755 as Maria Antonia Josepha Joanna of Austria, a daughter in the powerful Habsburg dynasty. Her mother, Empress Maria Theresa, was one of Europe's most powerful rulers, and from a young age, Marie was destined to play a role in the political games of empires. But little did anyone know, her life would become one of history's most tragic tales. Marie grew up in opulence. As the 15th child of the Empress, her early life was filled with music, dancing, and education. Yet, she was far from an academic prodigy. Marie was known to have a lively spirit and charm but wasn't the most dedicated student. Her carefree childhood, however, was abruptly redirected when her mother decided to strengthen Austria's alliance with France. How? Through marriage. And that's when Marie's destiny took a drastic turn. At only 14, Marie was sent to France to marry Louis Auguste, the Dauphin of France, who would later become King Louis XVI. Imagine being a teenager, forced to leave your home and everything you know to marry someone you've never met. But this wasn't just any foreign country. This was France, the heart of fashion, power, and sophistication. For Marie, it was like entering an entirely new world, one where everything she did would be observed and judged. Marie stepped into a world of extreme wealth and strict etiquette. The French court was a place where appearance was everything, and Marie quickly became its star. She dazzled in elaborate gowns, towering wigs, and priceless jewels, earning admiration and envy from nobles and commoners alike. She was young, vivacious, and bold, and the people of France were fascinated. But for all the glamour, Marie's life wasn't easy. Louis Auguste, her husband, was shy, awkward, and uncomfortable in his role as king. The couple struggled to connect, and for years they didn't produce an heir, a matter that only added fuel to the public scrutiny and rumor-mongering. Marie faced whispers and accusations from all directions. And without the affection and strength of her husband to back her, she turned elsewhere for comfort. The court of Versailles was a place of hidden rivalries, backstabbing, and endless gossip. To cope, Marie poured herself into the extravagance of court life. She threw lavish parties, indulged in the finest clothes, and surrounded herself with close friends and attendants. But this luxury came at a cost. To the people outside the palace walls, she became the very symbol of excess. By the time Marie became queen in 1774, France was already facing serious financial troubles. The economy was strained by wars and lavish spending by previous kings, and yet, Marie's spending habits added fuel to the fire. She became known as Madame Deficit, the woman blamed for the country's crippling debt. And then, the rumors took a darker turn. There was the infamous line, "Let them eat cake," supposedly uttered when Marie heard the people were starving. In reality, historians agree she likely never said it. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. In the minds of the people, she was callous, out of touch, and entirely responsible for their suffering. Then came a scandal that would shatter her already fragile reputation, the diamond necklace affair. In 1785, a con woman convinced a cardinal to buy a massively expensive diamond necklace, supposedly on behalf of the queen. Marie had nothing to do with the scheme, but when it unraveled, she was publicly blamed for wasting money on a necklace worth more than most people would earn in a lifetime. The scandal was sensational and became a turning point in Marie's life. From that moment, her reputation was beyond saving. By 1789, the situation in France had spiraled out of control. Bread prices soared, poverty was rampant, and the people of France were starving. A spark of rebellion was growing, and the monarchy was its target. The Estates General was called, the first meeting of France's governing bodies in over a century, and this meeting turned into an uprising. The people of France demanded a say in their future. And then, on July 14, 1789, the storming of the Bastille marked the beginning of the French Revolution. It was a dramatic, violent display that sent shockwaves through France. The revolution was officially underway, and Marie Antoinette, who had once been the queen adored for her beauty and style, was now viewed as the enemy. In October, a massive crowd of hungry, desperate women marched to Versailles, demanding bread and calling for justice. Picture it, thousands of women, armed with whatever they could find, storming the palace and demanding the queen's presence. The royal family was forced to leave their grand palace and move to the Tuileries in Paris, where they were essentially prisoners in their own city. Marie's life of luxury was gone. Confined to the Tuileries, she was under constant surveillance. She could no longer indulge in the pleasures of Versailles. She was cut off from her allies, isolated, and feared for her children's lives. But even in captivity, she didn't give up. She secretly wrote letters to foreign allies, trying to orchestrate a plan to save her family. But every attempt failed, and as the revolution intensified, the monarchy's power. In 1791, the royal family attempted a daring escape. Disguised as servants, they fled the Tuileries under cover of night, hoping to reach a safe haven where they could rally support. But they were recognized and captured just miles from the border. Their return to Paris was a devastating blow. From that point on, the people of France saw the royal family as traitors. By 1792, the French monarchy was officially abolished, and Louis XVI was put on trial and executed. Now, Marie was alone, stripped of her title, separated from her children, and held in the notorious Conciergerie prison. She was no longer a queen. She was simply Widow Capet, a woman awaiting her fate in the darkest of cells. In her final days, Marie was subjected to a brutal trial. The charges were high treason, theft, and an accusation so vile it shocked the public: incest with her own son. Historians agree these accusations were false, but they served to destroy her remaining dignity. The trial was swift, and the outcome was inevitable. On October 16, 1793, Marie was led through the streets of Paris in an open cart, exposed to the jeering, furious crowd. She was no longer the glamorous queen of Versailles. Her once blonde hair had turned white, her skin pale and gaunt. Her final words, spoken to the executioner after accidentally stepping on his foot, were, "Pardon me, sir, I did not mean to." As the blade fell, Marie Antoinette's life ended. The woman who once symbolized France's wealth and luxury was now dead, a casualty of a revolution that had turned against its own. Her death marked the end of an era, and her legacy is still one of the most debated in history. Was she a heartless monarch or a tragic figure caught in a world of betrayal and Marie Antoinette remains a symbol of extravagance, of misunderstanding, and of a life that both dazzled and condemned. Her story is a haunting reminder of what happens when the lines between privilege and reality blur. Her life and death changed the course of French history and left behind a legacy that still captivates the world. If you found Marie Antoinette's tragic, electrifying story fascinating, don't forget to hit subscribe for more in-depth dives into history's most unforgettable figures. Who do you think was Marie Antoinette, the villain of the revolution or a misunderstood queen? Let us know in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you